How often do we look at other photographers' work and think, wow, how do they get that look, that feel and mood in their pictures? Is it because of where they live, or do these pictures suddenly appear from nowhere? You could say, I never see these type of pictures in a real colour world. Well, I don't think it's all about where you live. I don't think they suddenly appear from nowhere. However, I do think they appear, but not in the real world. They appear in the artistic mind. A person who is not tied to the shackles of technicalities has much more freedom of expression than the stringent rules set by perfectionists. It's called stepping out of the comfort zone, and by creating visually strong images that pass on information on how you felt when you took the photograph to the viewer without any constraints makes these pictures stand out from the rest. So in this video called Stepping Out of the Comfort Zone, I'm going to edit this film scan of a winding path leading to the old cricket pavilion in Saltaire, West Yorkshire in two ways. The first edit will be done from a technical point of view, trying to get the tonal range as correct as possible with open blacks and shadows, grass at zone 5, shadows zone 3, the sky tones at 6, 7 and 8. And then in the second edit I will step out of the shackles, so to speak, and push beyond technical reality to a more visually creative process, and at the end of the video let you compare the two edits and decide which you like best. In my own photography, which is a changing process, I love using cameras that are not technically perfect, such as the old vintage cameras, the Holga or the pinhole camera, as I'm now seeing the beauty of imperfection. And as John Ruskin once said, to banish imperfection is to destroy expression. So on to the editing. Keep in mind that this is not an editing tutorial. It's about visual representation and how perception through vision can be such a creative tool. Ansel Adams once said, the negative is comparable to the composer's score and the print to its performance. I think by that he's implying that the negative is not the finished picture. It's not a picture that was always faithful to the scene photographed. It's just information for us to work with. The final performance is the finished result from the artist's mind, not what was there in totality when the image was captured. The inner vision can take you in different directions, which can be so different from the original scene. So this is the original composition taken through the viewfinder of my Holga 120N, and now I'm going to edit it as said previously and keep it as faithful tonally as I possibly can in the edit. I'm going to go into Colour Perfect, making sure that there's no blown highlights or block shadows. Get that number as low as possible. And there we have a very bright flat scene. I'm going to go into RGB colour so I can access the Nik collection with Bezier to build a contrast. Just painting that contrast. Just going to zoom in. Change the brush to black to paint back. To keep the highlights intact. Then we're going to check on the shadow area. Just enough detail in those shadows. So I'll go there, flatten, and then we'll just check with the histogram in levels. Slight increase in the white point. Just some blocking at this far corner, but that's more to do with the Holga lens than the exposure, so I would say that's fine. Then finally just going to go into camera raw and bring the sky down. When it decides it wants to get there. Use the gradient, so we'll just bring it down slightly. Just bring that brightness down a touch. That's okay. And that scene now is as near as I can get to the original tonal values. We've got detail in 99% of the shadows, detail in the whites, the skies in the zones, region of 6, 7, 8. The grass is round about zone 5, so that's just a straight edit, no cropping. But is that how I want it to look? Do I keep faithful to the scene, or do I push it further? I'll do that in the next edit and just see what we can produce from that. So this is a first edit, and move on to the second edit where I'm going to push things a little further and step out of what you might call my comfort zone. So when I look at this picture and I think, is it exactly what I perceived when I looked through the viewfinder? What caught my eye was the path winding its way to the old cricket pavilion, and with the constraints of the Holga viewfinder and just having a fixed focal length lens, this is the faithful reproduction of what I saw. But I do believe by adding a different type of crop to this image, and just because it's square doesn't mean it can't be any other format, it will probably give it more impact. So that's the first thing I'm going to try. First of all, I'll just duplicate the image, and then we'll try a crop. I'll go for a 10 by 8, which is already set up for that. So I'm just going to move the image about to see what's more appealing to my eye, or to my inner vision, as you might say. I think that works better than the square crop, so I'll crop it at that. Now I think visually it's a stronger picture. The eyes definitely draw more to the path, with less image showing either side of it. So now onto the edit. I'm going to push the contrast more on this now. And that's shifted some of the zones, as you can see at this side where the trees were, it's virtually gone to black. Zone 5 on the grassy area has probably gone darker, probably to zone 4, and the sky has been lifted. So I'm going to go with that. I'm just going to be careful on the highlights on the building, which probably have gone now with too much contrast. So I'm going to add a mask and paint that contrast in, but not affect the the whites on the pavilion building. Change it to white. I'll paint it all in, then paint that back on the white by going with the brush to black and just bringing that detail back. Those buildings. And then I'm going to go back into the visa. And pump the contrast a little bit more. And then press OK. This time I'll press it with brush and it'll just apply a mask, because I just want to apply it to the land area, not the sky. So I'm going to paint that in there. I'll flatten that one. Have to apply it first. And I'm going to duplicate the layer and go into camera raw. When it decides it wants to load, there we go. I'm going to use the graduated tool in camera raw and pull this sky down. It's okay. Add a mask and then paint that in. That top right hand corner has gone a little bit dark, so I'm just going to adjust that. Reduce the brush opacity, just take that black blotchiness out there. So that's got rid of that. Then I'm going to Nik software again, the Nik collection, and this time go to Colour Effects Pro. And with this I'm going to use the fog filter. I'm not going to create a foggy look, it's just going to lift the whites a little bit more, only a touch. Press OK to that. Flatten that image, and then I think I'll go back into the Nik collection, but again into Colour Effects Pro. And just look at adding a tiny amount of blur to the edges. This for me will focus more down the path. Place the centre out there. Press OK to that. And flatten that image. And then finally I'm going to add some film grain. Oh, this is film. I just want it to make it a bit more textural. So I'm going to go to extensions. This panel was made by my friend Ian from a negative that I sent him, and it worked very, very well. So Tri-X grain. Take a look. I'm going to add Tri-X grain again, and that's created the look that I'm after, this textural quality through the grain. There, flatten that, and then I'm going to arrange the two edits side by side for comparison. So that's it, the finished edits from the same negative. The one on the left, I've kept it as faithful to the original scene as possible, no cropping and not pushing the contrast too high. The one on the right, I've gone that bit further. I've done a crop on the image, I've increased the contrast considerably in an effort to try and create something that stands out a little bit more from what you might call a straight picture. Editing pictures this way by pushing files, negatives or digital files, has to be done carefully. We can sometimes go too far with it and start to actually destroy the picture. I think on this one I've gone far enough, and for me it's created a visually more appealing picture where my original intention of the winding path leading to the old cricket pavilion is more apparent as an intention to the one on the left, which I haven't cropped. I think the contrast has helped focusing the eye down the path to the pavilion. But these are just my opinions, and by stepping out of the comfort zone and going that bit further, have I created a picture that has more impact? But I'll leave that for you to decide. Anyway, thanks for watching.